Blessings followers, my name is Jure, and today with me a man who put Poland on a sound system musical map and who is responsible for hits such as Issues, Last Tune, Soulfly, Beat Them, She Shook Me Up, and I could go on and on. Dreadsquad, Marek, blessings, welcome.
Fun.
How are you? Where do we interrupt you at the moment?
Well, I'm in Łódź, in my hometown. Just came back from work. I'm building a house since like 3 years or something like that. It's a terrible nightmare, but I have to finish it, and I'm close to finishing it, so it's all good, man.
Good to hear. So let's start with some typical questions such as who or what is Dreadsquad?
Well, I've started it myself. Then for a couple of years, I was doing this with my friend, who's not into reggae anymore, to be honest. So it's just me again.
Okay, nice. What's the story behind the name? Why Dreadsquad? I mean, it's obvious you don't have dreads. So.
Well, I used to have dreadlocks for like 6 years, quite long and quite many of them, like 130 dreadlocks on my head. But the name comes from my previous job, which was dreadlock making. Yeah, and Dreadsquad was just a crew of me and my friend, and we were just making dreadlocks to other people.
Oh, nice. So
the first party when I was on the flyer, and someone asked me what should I write, and I said yeah, let's go with Dreadsquad, and it sticked.
Nice. Now it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. How did all this pandemic and COVID situation affected you? Did you have more time for your creativity, or is it more like depressing? You miss parties and stuff?
Of course, I miss parties. It used to be my day job or night job, but of course, at the moment, we don't have it anymore, and my job just disappeared from the list. But, anyway, I'm building this house, so most of my time I'm spending there, and I'm just like a, Bob the Builder, I'm doing it all myself, so it takes ages, and of course pandemic didn't help me at all. It was even more frustration, even more financial issues, so with everyone else, I'm on the same page.
I was asking because of your fresh release with Tom Spirals, the tune She Shook Me Up, and the message that it brings. How did all that happen? How did you meet Tom, and how did She Shook Me Up project?
Well, I know Tom from a long time ago. I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years. We've met at some parties in UK. And we had a really good link, so I invited him for some other gigs, like in Romania, Never.Si. Then we've met in Australia. He was there, I was there, so we had some gigs together. He was in Poland at my birthday party, so the link is long and good. And with Shook Me Up, we decided that finally, after so many years of work together, we need to release something. And because, I don't have so much studio time at the moment because of the other things I do, I decided to send him a rhythm that I made for Coffee Remix, Toast. So this was the how to call it. Yeah, it was just like that. I did a remix, and it was like something like super fast because I spent like maybe 1 or 2 days on that remix, and it went well. A lot of people shared it, and it was quite popular. And but of course it's a bootleg, so I don't have any rights to use that remix. So I decided I will just use the music. because the music is mine. It's like different chords, different bass line. And maybe in the nearest future I will have a couple more tunes on that rhythm.
Nice. Did you get any feedback from Coffee about bootleg?
No, not really. But I did a remix for Damian Marley, Bandem, which was like a major hit everywhere around. And even though I tried to contact him, he didn't get that message or didn't care, So, so I don't expect that those bootleg remixes will be like, going directly to the artist, and you never know what will happen. Yeah, but no feedback from Coffee, no feedback from Damian. But I got some good feedback from David Rodigan, so it's good for me.
It was just something I wanted to ask you, but how it is, what does it mean to be recognized by someone like David Rodigan as an artist? Is that like a big compliment or like something that drives you further?
It's like thousands of producers like me, everyone everywhere around is making some dub tunes or some reggae tunes. So it's like a big thing for me when he mentions me in his broadcast, and when he plays my tunes, it's always like something that keeps me going on. I need those positive feedbacks a lot, so it's great.
He also said some nice things I saw about She Shook Me Up with Tom Spirals. But besides Tom, you had a lot of collaborations with artists such as War 21, Tenorfly, Top Cat, General Levy, Million Styles, Deep Ire, Perfect Giddyman. I mean, I could go on and on and on. How does this works for you? I mean, who approaches you? How does your work process looks like with artists such as the one I just...
Each song is different. There is a lot of artists that just want to record something with me, and they are approaching me because they know that I make good music. But with a lot of, like, let's say, top league artists, it has to be the producer who is approaching them. So you just contact them, you try to make some deal, then you record a song, and if it's good, you release it. So, so a lot of songs, a lot of stories.
You as a producer, do you have any sayings in like message of the songs or lyrics, or you just create rhythm and that's it for you?
Like 100% of the lyrics are written by the artists, like singers and lyricists. Sometimes I just tell them which subjects I like and which I don't. So I try to have like a little bit input in the lyrical content, but it's just like giving like a tip what this tune could be about.
Yes. Your music is kind of a combination of sounds like traditional reggae, dub, dancehall, rocksteady, ska, with much modern beats like breakbeat, jungle, dubstep, even garage. Do you think that traditional sounds are like too old for younger population? Why do you create modern beats from traditional sounds?
Well, I create old school sounds, I create new school sounds. The Shook Me Up rhythm is rather old school sounding, so I don't think it's modern. Maybe it sounds modern because it's made right now, not 60 years ago. But it's still like a, ska rocksteady tune, and, with real guitars, real bass, real Hammond organs with some samples from live drums, plus some of my programming. Yeah, but at the moment I'm on the rocksteady tip, so I listen a lot of old school sounding music. But on the other hand, I produce album for Cian Finn from Ireland, And the album will be maybe even kind of surprise because it's like very modern sounding, and sometimes it's not even reggae anymore. It's like a lot of hip hop influence. Everything depends on my actual mood and my recent fascination with some genres of music. So yeah, I don't do any only like modern stuff or only old school stuff. It's everything is connected, and sometimes goes more this way, sometimes more that way. Yeah.
It's been 20 years since Dreadsquad project officially started. It's a long way for sure. What do you think is the most precious gift that music brought you during your career as Dreadsquad?
For sure, it's traveling. I love traveling, and because of the music, I went so many different places. Brazil, many times India, States, Canada, Japan, all around Europe. So it's like a big blessing because probably without music, I would be sitting in Poland and maybe going to some, close countries from time to time. But with music, I travel like all around the world. So that's the big blessing. And also because of music, I've met a lot of really, really cool people. And some of those people are my good friends. So I say hello to them. And yeah.
What about before Dreadsquad project and all? Did you play in any band? Do you play any instruments? How did you get involved in music? Where did that love come from?
I always was connected with music. In my primary school, I was attending to the school brass band. I was playing some drums and drum instruments, percussion instruments. And all my friends were making music. It was everyone was a music producer back then. We all had the same old school program, Fast Tracker 2, and we just were making music. So so from that point, till now, it's like a long journey, because it wasn't anything serious at the beginning, I just liked it, and I always loved music. So I continued for next 20 years, and here I am.
You already mentioned some work you've been doing, but is there anything else we can expect from you in the next couple of months? Is something we should pay attention to?
Well, at the moment, I don't have too much time for making music, which is a big pity because I need a studio and it's still not ready after 3.5 years. Woo! Yeah, and after probably I will release more music, but at the moment, I'm just producing album for Kian, but I don't know when it will appear. Maybe this year, maybe next year. We will see. But I might have some more tunes on that She Shook Me Up rhythm, but I don't want to tell about it yet because it's not confirmed. So yeah, let's just wait.
No spoilers. What about bookings? We all know that it's a hard year for music. Is there any bookings coming up? Is there some festivals we can catch you this year?
For God's sake, I have some bookings, but all of them are in Poland on some smaller events because big events are cancelled anyway this year. I was going to play in Slovakia at Uprising, but they moved us to next year, so we will see next year. But because of the difficulties with traveling, I don't expect to play anywhere abroad at the moment. So it's good that I have some gigs in Poland.
Okay, good to hear that. For the last question, before we hang up. If there are any listeners and followers who would like to follow your path, become a producer or a musician, is there any advice you can give them? How to start? What to be focused on? Like how to become a next Dreadsquad?
There will be never next Dreadsquad. At this time, it's like very, very easy to start producing music because there's like millions of tutorials on YouTube about any program, about Cubase, Fruity Loops, Ableton Live, so it's like very easy to get into technical stuff, because at my time it was like very difficult because there was nothing and no one knew about anything. And so that's good for younger people right now. But, my best advice would be just try to do your own stuff, not to copy other stuff. Because, of course, copying is also fine. You learn a lot when you copy someone. But then you have to start, have like your own vibe, your own style, and it's very boring sometimes to listen some new tunes because they sound like exactly the same and like they are in the same tempo, especially those dub tunes like UK dub or European dub. Well, I'm not a big fan, to be honest, so I always try to do different tempos, different vibes, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes melancholic, and if I remix, I try to do the opposite of the original. So if the song is fast and happy, I will try to make it slow and sad or something like that. Depends on the theme of the song because it's always about, lyrical content, so it has to match. But I always try to flip everything around.
Good. Well, you heard the man, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna hear from you a lot in the future. Marek, Dreadsquad, enough thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to meet you one day in person, probably here in Slovenia on some stage or festival.
Yeah, man.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Big up.
Big up.